Hi guys, if you are starting your homeschool planning, the first thing you need to do is get a daily routine. And what I mean by a daily routine is not all the details of your lesson planning or what subject is going to be learned when, but rather a routine of what part of the day comes after the other parts of the day. And so I'll get into details here about how you can establish a routine for every single person in your family. Don't forget to use this for your own schedule as well and line it up alongside your children's so that you can make sure everybody knows where they're going to be and when. Let's get started. Guys, I'm Zara Fagan. I'm the author of Minimalist Homeschooling, and I'm here today to talk to you about how to create a routine for your family. So this is the easiest way that I've found to create a routine. It's very visually based. So if you're someone who likes to know how the pieces are all fitting together, this is for you. And also this is for our beginner homeschoolers. And even if you've been homeschooling for a while and you just want to get into a better routine, maybe you're reevaluating how you're doing things. So let me show you what I do. First of all, you're going to want some Sharpies, whatever colors you want, or pens, anything works really. And then Post-it notes. So here you go, Post-it notes. And again, you can get as creative as you'd like. If you have multiple colors you want to use for multiple kids or multiple things, go ahead and do that. And some of these I cut into halves so that each half is sticky. So you want to cut it with the sticky side on one side. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Basically, each Post-it note is going to represent a unit of time. Pick the unit that's easiest for you. I tend to choose a big Post-it note is an hour, and a half of one is a half an hour. So there you go. If your children are younger, you may find it more useful to make each of these 30 minutes and a half sheet 15 minutes. But realize that the more detailed you get, the more complicated your routine is going to feel. And so I actually advocate having fewer details at this point than anything that's necessary, right? So as few details as possible is what I'm trying to say. So here's what you're going to do. On these Post-it notes, you're going to identify chunks of time that you need. So we're not being specific here about math, lesson 18. Instead, we're grouping our time together by category. So you're going to say things like schoolwork. So you pull up a Post-it note and you're going to write schoolwork. Now, let's talk about appropriate amounts of time based on age. So if you have a preschooler, you're probably going to choose a half an hour for your schoolwork and then maybe another half an hour or an hour to do a specific activity, right, that you want to be really intentional about. And even that half an hour for schoolwork isn't necessary, guys. Your preschooler is picking up so much. You can totally wait. I know in our home, because we're doing schoolwork and I've been homeschooling since the beginning, my preschooler has always wanted to feel like a big kid and be involved. So I'm intentional about giving my preschooler about a half an hour to work on sort of the academic portions of preschool, right? So we might focus on a couple letters, we might focus on numbers, we might focus on shapes or colors or something like that. We're not going to do all the things every day, but instead I'm gonna have a half an hour set aside where my preschooler gets some schoolwork so that they feel like they're part of our family and what our family does. If your preschooler's not there yet, don't force it, guys. Don't make them hate school before school has even begun. So as your children get older, however, you may want more like an hour of schoolwork. And here I mean things like table work, but you can categorize it however it suits your family. So if for you it's read alouds, then make a Post-it with read alouds. If for you it's table time and schoolwork at the table or book work or whatever you call it, then call it that. If it's online learning, then call it online learning. You get to choose your categories. But the point is that you go ahead and make the Post-it notes that suit your family in their half hour or hour categories. So for example, when you have a first or second grader, you might want about an hour of book work for that child. And as your children get older, you might have 2 hours. And older than that, you might have 3 or 4 hours expected of them. So remember, in homeschooling, you don't need 8 hours to get all of your schoolwork done. There's a lot happening in the free time. There's a lot of unstructured learning. And a lot gets accomplished when your child is able to go at their own pace and they have a one-on-one teacher-student ratio, right? Or even 1-to-4 in my case. So here we go. Go ahead, make all your Post-it notes now. I'll meet you back here in a minute. Okay guys, so with the caveat that you're going to choose the categories that are most appealing to your family and most appropriate, let me tell you a few of ours. So I have the morning get ready category. I have a bedtime routine category, right? I have dinner, an hour to prep dinner and eat it. I have free time. Nothing wrong with making free time something that is on your calendar. I happen to work, and so I often have free time, also corresponds then with my work time, right? So I have table time for schoolwork, which is different from an hour of independent work. So as your children are self-sufficient in some of their subjects, right? Once they know how to read, you can start to assign independent work, and that can be treated differently than the things that they need you for. Like maybe you're gonna sit with them for math, but maybe they're gonna go read other subjects on their own. Maybe they have things that they're working on online. That sort of thing is independent work. So my personal favorite, I do mom's choice. And that means if I allow an hour, I get to decide what needs to be done that day. Maybe it's geography, maybe I wanna do a science experiment, but either way, it's my choice to decide what's going to be most valuable for my kids that day. Maybe it's going outside, maybe it's a play date, right? So the other thing I have is group time, right? Subjects that we're learning together, have an hour for group time. I have an hour for lunch, prepping and eating it. And you can just have schoolwork, right? You can also have chore time. You can make sure that you have outside time if that's a priority to you. Go ahead and write it down now. Now the idea is that you just need a blank wall. The next step is all you need is a blank wall. And what you're going to do is you're going to put these pieces together in some way that makes sense to you. So in this case, I do have a preschooler, so I'm going to give her half an hour of my attention at table time, and I'm also going to give her an activity. And I know in our home, it works best if I set her up with that activity right at the same time. You know why? Because my older kids are also going to be doing schoolwork at the same time, right? And so maybe my second grader will be doing an hour of schoolwork while she's doing that, and then my older kids will also do schoolwork, right? And then I know that we're going to all have lunch together and prep it. Do you see how using Post-it notes now makes it so easy to put the things together? I know that after lunch, we're gonna do group time together, and this is for everybody, right? And then I know after group time, it's gonna be mom's choice. Maybe I need to work that day and they're gonna watch a documentary. Maybe we need to get outside and we're gonna go for a nature walk. Maybe I'm gonna do something special and I'm gonna relinquish my mom's choice to one of the kids and let them choose what we do at that time. There are so many options here, but I like having that flexibility, but yet you maintain a routine. Okay, and so then my older kids, after mom's choice, will probably have still some independent work to do. And then everyone's going to have free time, right? So there's this free time going on now for my little ones. Then we're gonna have dinner. Then we're gonna do a bedtime routine, right? And don't forget that in the morning, we all had to get ready. So now suddenly you have a routine for the day, right? And everybody can see what they're doing and you can specify what each child is doing. And don't get carried away then with how much time you think you have in a day. So the beauty here is now if you know you have an hour to work with your kids at the table, then you're going to decide what is the most valuable thing you're going to do with that hour at the table. Right? You're not going to just fill it with all the things. You cannot do all the things, but you can do the most important things really well. And so this is a very easy way to revamp your schedule, to get everybody on the same page, and to visually see how much time you have in the day and how the pieces are going to fit together. If you have questions or comments, please leave them below. Go ahead and recommend this video to a friend who might just be getting started or might be struggling with a new routine or a new schedule. And I will see you guys soon. I'm wishing you all the simple things. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, and check down low for links. See ya.